Hey everybody, welcome to Do You Believe on Paranormal Zone TV. I want to thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And for those who may be new to the show, if you would please subscribe, I would appreciate it. And don't forget to give the show a like. Now, tonight we have an awesome show. I'm so excited to have Sean Austin back. He is one of my favorite guests. So let me introduce Sean. Okay, sorry guys, I had the audio off. Tonight, our guest is Sean Austin. He's Travel Channel's Ghost Loop lead paranormal investigator. He's a psychic medium, a singer-songwriter, a demonologist, and Sean has been guided into the area of demonology by Ralph Sarchi. Now, tonight, we're going to talk about the Amityville house. The Amityville house is one of the most famous haunting cases in the world. Ronald DeFeo's brutality captivated the world. On tonight's episode, Sean Austin discusses his personal paranormal experiences having to do with the famous Amityville horror case. After visiting the grave of the DeFeos and the house conducting spirit box sessions, things started to happen to Sean and follow him that are unsettling to the extreme. So with that, let's bring on Sean. Hey, Sean, thanks so much for coming on the show again.
Thank you. Always, it's joyful to come here and speak with you, Noreen. It's always a blast.
Oh, thanks. And I didn't die. So last show I had a terrible cough and you said don't die on me. No sickness, no cough tonight, but we're going to have a really great show. Sean is a fabulous, awesome paranormal investigator, and his senses are unbelievable. What Sean can pick up and hear and see is crazy. And by the way, the last show that we aired with Sean, one of my viewers, Tammy Heitzman, I believe no, it wasn't Tammy, it was another viewer. She had clipped out and edited that show with all the orbs that were surrounding Sean. And even Sean, during the show, he saw them. So I have a video of that, and I will air that, but I'm not going to air that tonight. But I just want you to know there were lots of orbs that night. And I don't know if it was because of the topic we were talking about, but it was a certain time when Sean was talking about certain subjects or topics when those orbs started circling around him. But tonight, Sean's going to talk about his experiences with the Amityville house. So, Sean, do you want to start?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I mean, as yourself, Noreen, I would think that the Amityville horror case is one of the most infamous paranormal cases of our time in the community and the history of, investigating the paranormal because of the circumstances that took place in that house. Obviously, I don't know, obviously is not aware of the Amityville horror case, but it did start with the DeFeo family living in there, with Ronald DeFeo Jr. actually killing his entire family, where this tragic murder took place, and this other family, the Lutz family, moving in and experiencing alleged crazy paranormal activity to the point where they actually left all their stuff in their home and they left, which ended up inspiring the movie The Amityville Horror, which spurred off many sequels and stories of alleged paranormal activity and things that people have experienced, and some people claim it's a hoax and things like that. And I discovered myself whether or not it was a hoax for me personally and individually and spiritually. And what actually took place, so I use an application called Periscope. I've been using it for about a half a decade right now. And I live stream in front of people so they can watch while I investigate. And it was about 3-4 years ago. And I decided one day during the summer to go to the Amityville house just to sit. Actually, I went to the DeFeo grave first. I went to the DeFeo family grave, and I stood right by the grave site, and I started live streaming, and I was asking questions. And I'll never forget that out of nowhere, I asked what was the name of the demon that made Ronald DeFeo kill his family, and it spat out a demon's name. I'd also asked out of the family who's still here that's still maybe lingering, earthbound, and it said the name John. Now, I wasn't connecting really quick, but I know that there was John, one of the children, that was actually one of the kids that were killed that night. But I didn't connect that immediate second that the boy ghost, the infamous boy ghost that Lorraine Warren's photographer took in the house while they were investigating in the 70s. Most people look and they think it looks most like John, the child that died, and there's a lot of people discussing this online. Now, I actually went back in my car because it was during the day. There's people walking around, and whenever I'm in a cemetery and I'm doing something like that, I don't want to disturb anybody who's visiting their loved ones while I'm sitting there doing some weird shit, whatever. So I got in my car, I turned on the spirit box, and I couldn't believe it that this little kid's voice started coming through the spirit box. I had hooked it up through the aux cable in my car, and again, I'm live streaming this, and this kid just constantly starts coming through. This little kid's voice, and just saying, "It's me," and this and that, and I'm like, the way I approach the paranormal is I always try to show respect towards spirits. I try to offer to pray for them. If they want a prayer from me, if I can help them in any way, I will immediately do that. I'm willing to do that at any given instance, because we're lucky to experience these things, learn from it, and help other people with these experiences as we become more of an investigator, or myself learning how to become a religious demonologist. So I asked this kid, I'm like, okay, John, if that's really you, would you like me to say a prayer for you? And he said, this little kid goes, please. Now, I know that a lot of people know and discuss that demonic entities can disguise their voices as other people and things like that. I'm totally aware of that. And from what I had actually thought myself and what I believe is that no demonic entity would ever want you to pray for any reason or bring you closer to God for any reason whatsoever. So obviously my intent is genuine. Intent is such a profound element when it comes to the paranormal. You can never hide from your intent when you're involving yourself in the paranormal, whatever you're doing. If you have ulterior motives psychologically in the back of your mind, subconsciously, these things can pick up on your intent and use that and manipulate it to the point where it can actually use it against you in any way, because again, we can only speculate what they're trying to do in the shadows. And if you're talking about something that's genuinely demonic, they can be very tricky and tactical from the shadows where they emanate from. So I prayed for this kid, and the kid just started coming. It wouldn't stop. It's never happened to me to this point where this little kid's voice would just be coming through nonstop. Just it's like it's him over just like a dozen times. Now I left the gravesite and went by the house, and I sat in my car like a block away. I didn't want to disturb the people in the house. And the kids coming through again, the same things. Little kid's voice coming through, and this kid would ask me to come up to the house, say these little creepy things, but in a friendly way. Then George, the name came through my first initial time that I did this on Periscope. So when I went home, the first thing that happened to me was the most profound, very clear vision that's kind of connected to a lot of things that it still makes me wonder about it to this day. What happened was actually in this room that I'm in right now. I dozed off and I had this vision that I was inside the Amityville house. And I was looking up the stairs, and there were three perfect shadow figures standing at the second floor of the house on the tier of the top of the stairs. Now, I yell out to these three shadows, in the name of Jesus Christ, I command you, if John DeFeo's, that boy's spirit is stuck here, I command you to let them go in the name of Jesus Christ. And out of nowhere, I could see in my peripheral vision this piano pick up in this adjacent room, and in midair, it would just get thrown at me. Now, I felt the jolt of the piano hitting me in my bed, and I jumped up and had the chills. And right when this took place, I saw this black form or mist go right through my ceiling right here in this room with me. And I'm like, wow, are you kidding me right now? I looked at the time on my cell phone, and it was 3:15 in the morning, which is the time of the murders. If anybody doesn't know that, this is a very profound element to this whole thing with the Amityville story. Now, my experiences started to progress. I would have these types of visions. I would be back in the house, and there would be a black dog in the room, and there'd be like 50 old clocks all over the house, and they'd all just hit 3:15 and all start, making the bell noises and all the noises that clocks make. And as soon the dog starts barking at the corner of this room, this black mist would come out, and I would wake up again and see this black mist go through my ceiling, 3:15 in the morning. And then I would have, actually after that, I was live streaming in a cemetery with a girlfriend of mine, and we were in the cemetery. Now it wasn't even that warm of a day, but she was sensitive at the time with me. She's sensitive to spirits, and out of nowhere she's like, I feel like something really dark is like watching you right now. And I'm like, really? So out of nowhere, I'm live streaming, people are seeing this, and these flies just start flying around me. And then out of nowhere, this nasty growl comes through and says Amityville on the spirit box. Now everyone watching is like, are you kidding me? This is crazy. This had actually happened like a couple of times. Then again, I would go home and have another vision. This time I felt like I was looking over. I don't know if I was astral projecting or remote viewing. Now, the difference between astral projection and then remote viewing is astral projection is when you actually leave your body and you're actually having an outer body experience and you're seeing something through that perspective. Now, remote viewing would be something that you wouldn't be leaving your body from and actually seeing something. But I felt as if like I was a drone flying over the Amityville house. I was looking down. It was like 40 feet above the house. I was staring at it, and I could hear thousands of flies buzzing in my ear. And again, see this shadow mist black thing go through my ceiling. It's 3:15 in the morning. And this stuff would just continuously start to happen on and off. As soon as I prayed for that kid, now I would have these feelings, like as if this overwhelming feeling would come over my body, like, wow, what did I get myself into? Like, it made me want to almost like back away, like, wow, like I don't even want to like touch this. But I felt like it may have been just trying to project this just immense type of fear within me to try to back away and to make me fearful, so it could actually formulate that in its favor, so to speak, because that's what these demonic entities do. But I've never felt the level of evil that I felt with I believe what's involved with that house. What ended up happening was I ended up I was over at Ralph Sarchi's house. Now, he's my mentor. He's a well-respected demonologist. The movie Delivers from Evil was based on his book. And I was just like, I had gotten this new piece of equipment, and I wanted to go over there and just get a little bit more answers. And I'm just like, Ralph, you want to come with me? And he's like, hey, Sean, what do you got to be going to play with the devil tonight? It's really funny, So I'm like, well, I guess if you want to put it that way, Ralph. So we ended up going over there and used this piece of equipment, and like Ralph, as myself, were just astounded the communication that was coming through. We actually asked like if they could make the gunshot noise that happened that night, and this big boom just came through the box like it was a gunshot. This is live again on video, and just responding as relevantly to the the whole story in the case. And now even Ralph had asked if that was John, and was that you in the picture that they had gotten so many years ago, and it goes, no, it wasn't me. And it's just really unsettling, really creepy. It's just like, that probably most likely was the demonic forming into that kid. And if you look at that picture, it looks like it has no eyes. And if you know anything about demonic entities, the alleged thing is if they form or manifest into the form of a human being, they can never perfectly form into a human being. There'll be some sort of feature or an assortment of their body parts. Something is off about them. And I've witnessed so many things now that are demonic, with black eyes and no eyes and glowing eyes and all sorts of stuff. So anyways, we had sat there, and Ralph decided to give up his next mass for this kid. We had actually gone back again, and this kid just seemed to never come back through again. And it was really strange. And maybe we actually helped this kid find peace. Maybe there was truth to all this. You got to be objective about these experiences. And I know this is a very infamous case. And you think about all the crazy hoax and people want attention. There's a lot of people that want attention out there. But again, firsthand experience is the way to really judge yourself if you experience these things. And for me, this stuff that followed me home and what I was experiencing was just unreal, unsettling, and it was just unbelievable. Now, after that, I started to have things involving George Lutz. So I'd be sleeping in bed and I'd see George Lutz's face, and I'd hear his voice and he'd go, "That was my house." And it became this other thing. And then I'd have a vision of, say, it was the boathouse, and the boathouse door creaked open, and I'm looking inside. It was all dark in there, and even though it was pitch dark, I could see the shadow figure just standing there. And then I woke up again, having this creepy thing happen all over again, 3:15 in the morning. And then this George thing would start coming through on the spirit box. Actually, the image that I sent you, Noreen.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to talk about that yet, or you want to get into that?
Which one? The house? How about the house? Which one did you want me to...
I'll tell you about what happened with this image, which she's going to show you. So I was just flying home from California for New Year's, and I was just bored on the plane. I was using this paranormal application called Spiritus app. Now, it has a feature called, ITC, visual ITC. Now, basically, it's moving around things on an image, and they say that, spirits can project themselves onto the image, kind of like scrying. When you move water around, you take pictures, you ask questions and stuff like that. I was just sitting there, just taking screenshots, and I just never forget, I'm sitting there, and I looked at this picture, and I was complete utter shock, because it popped out right into me. I wasn't even thinking about it, and there were these perfect 3 shadow figures that I circle in the picture, and to the right of it, you can see the actual silhouette of the Amityville house. You can see the windows, the chimney in the middle, straight up in the middle of the house, and I was just like, oh my God. But it was giving me validation to what I experienced that night with that vision with these 3 shadow figures. Who are these shadow figures that were standing there in the house? Are these demonic things? Who or what they are, I don't know. But, she can show you that image.
I just did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then
there's a comparison of the house and then just of the part where the house is compared to the real house on the left and right.
Yeah.
And you can see the windows are there, and then the shape of the roof and the chimney.
Well,
and it was just crazy.
Sean,
now,
go ahead.
Sure.
I want to tell you something. After I started looking at this picture, I see multiple faces in that picture. I saw, and the little girl is plain as day. I mean, I'm looking at this picture and I see her. I think it's the youngest one with the long hair. I don't know if the viewers can see it, but boy, I sure can. When I first saw this, I told Sean, I said, I see Ronald DeFeo. He's right there. I can clearly see him. But I didn't pick up until I started looking at it that the little girl his face is there, but her body is right next to him. You could see her face and her long hair. Let me see if you can guys see this. Let's see. Okay, there. I there you go. Honest to God, Sean, you can clearly see her, and I can see him. I can see his face. I wish you could see what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. But the thing that just jumped at me so much was the house with the 3 shadows, because it's those 3 shadow figures are associated with this house. I don't know what kind of energies they are, if they're dark demonic things, exactly what they are, but they're definitely evil. But to see that again pop out to me, and they wanted me to see that. That's just really creepy. I don't know what to make of it. It's just more of a mysterious thing for me, and to this day, I'm still getting responses having to do with this. But it also, I was actually on the road filming the show Ghost Loop for Travel Channel, our 1 season, and we were in Houston. Now, the hotel was known to be haunted, so I was just sitting in my hotel room live streaming. I'm like, all right, so I'll let some people watch, throw in the spirit box, see what it says. And there I am. I'm sitting there in this video clip I gave to Noreen, in my mind's eye, I saw George Lutz's face appear, and I'm like, George, are you here right now? And it says, Lutz. And then I'm like, why are you following me? Now it says the chapter. I've been, since I got home from filming the show, I was working on my second book, the sequel to my first published book about my paranormal experiences, Shadow Chaser, and I'm writing a chapter about these experiences having to do with the Amityville house. And he's literally telling me that he's following me because of the chapter. And then it all of a sudden says Amityville, the house stole my soul. And I'm like, what stole your soul? It says home. And then you hear the voice say Kathy, a minute later, and it sounds like the same exact voice, and it sounds very similar to George Lutz. It's just, these are all weird things that have been happening to me. There's also another thing that you can play for them, Noreen, that I sent her, that I was at a cemetery live streaming, and out of nowhere this voice comes through, and it says, I'm in prison. And my ears are very keen. I'm a musician, and I immediately said, I'm like, that sounded just like Ronald DeFeo Jr. It had a Long Island accent and everything, and I compared the voice, and it's identical, and Noreen, you can play that as well.
All right, I have them both. And I also have a clip from an interview that George Lutz had done, and it's just a 17-second clip if you want to compare his voice to what Sean picked up. So let me play the Ronald DeFeo one first, okay? So again, will you just tell the viewers before I start playing it again, playing this for them?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, go ahead.
So the first clip is, you're gonna play the Ronald DeFeo one.
I'm gonna do that one first.
Okay, so I was in a cemetery and using the spirit box, and this voice popped out to me and said, I'm in prison. Considering the man's still in prison, it sounded just like his voice, Long Island accent. I clipped it out from the video that I filmed that day, and I compared it to his real voice, and to me it's identical, no question, and that's just creepy as hell.
Okay, hold on. Why is this doing this? Hold on. All right, I'm going to play the clip. I'm going to make sure that it, yeah, okay. I'm going to play it. All right, here's this clip.
Prison. Me to be the bad guy and they want me to stay in prison. Prison. Me to be the bad guy and they want me to stay in prison. Prison. Me to be the bad guy and they want me to stay in prison. Prison. Prison.
All right, I can play that again if you viewers want to hear that again. I can play it. Did you guys hear that? If not, I can play it one more time. I took it down twice. Okay, they're not saying anything. All right. All right, so then I'm going to show the other one, and this one here was... okay, so this one here is George Lutz, and I have it labeled George Lutz Amityville, and this was 1 minute and 14 seconds. So we're going to play this one then. I want to make sure hold on. Yep. Okay, here we go.
George, are you here with me right now? Lutz. Oh my God. Dude, I heard him. I saw George Lutz's face in my mind's eye, and I just said, George, are you here? And it just said Lutz. Wow. Why are you following me, George? Ed. Stole my soul? That sounded like George Lutz's voice. What stole your soul? Home. Oh my God.
Okay. Now, I'm going to play this little 17-second clip of George's voice, so they can compare. Can I do that, Sean?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Oh, is it playing?
We had never intended to give it up. Even after we moved out, we intended to find out what was wrong and move back in there. We've been asked many times why we stayed so long. It's very hard to remember the exact emotions or the moment why you would make a decision or why not.
Okay, I just played that for him. Okay.
Nice.
It's a 30-second delay. They're listening to it now.
Okay.
All right, there's another, there's this other picture that you wanted to show the viewers. Now, is this the one you were talking about with all the shadows and then you have the black lines going through it?
There's two things I circled in the black. There's the 3 shadow figures, and then right to the right of it, I circled the silhouette of the house.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So you didn't send me any other evidence or pictures. So what else do you want to talk about on the Amityville?
So I wanted to go in a little bit about. So while I started to write this story, this chapter regarding my experiences with the Amityville house, again, weird things were happening. But for one instance, a gentleman randomly messaged me because I was posting on social media some weird things that have happened to me since I started writing the story. And he was saying how he was fascinated by the case and researched it for like 15 years. And he told me that he started conversing with a gentleman who allegedly bought the DeFeo family crime scene photos from an auction. Now, this gentleman allegedly took these photos back to his home, and he was having demonic activity, waking up at 3:50 in the morning, having nightmares about the murders. This gentleman started to show him digital copies of some of these images, and the guy that was conversing with me started to have the same exact activity as well, waking up at 3:50 in the morning and demonic type activity. He actually said that he stopped talking to this man who bought the original DeFeo family crime scene photos, and he just found out a year ago that this man hung himself. And I thought that was pretty unsettling, with all these strange things that are happening to some of us while we're discussing or looking at the case. Now, this guy was actually going to write about some of this in my book, and he started to write something, and he actually started to have activity again, and he's like, I really would love to write something, but I'm a little terrified, so he said you can write a little bit about it if you want, whatever, and I'm just going to put it, in there, because, I have no validation of what's going on with that, but I do know all the stuff that I've experienced. I'll leave it open to suggestion, but do I believe that these things are possible that's going on with him and this other man if he had those photos? Yeah, absolutely. No question. Now, I also spoke to another girl who's going to write a little thing about her experience, is that her aunt was a realtor when the house was up for sale in 2010, and she got inside the house and felt nauseous as hell and got the heck out of there. Now, she was in her car late at night that same night and got into a car accident. I believe her car went down a hill and hit something, and that car accident took place at 3:15 in the morning.
No way.
So it's just these constant weird things. Now, again, I was working on this book about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I'm sitting there in my bed, and I started to while I'm awake, just hearing flies buzzing in my ears. And while I'm investigating places, these responses are coming through and saying stuff having to do with the case. Now, there's something that's been coming through a lot. It's been saying Lee. And some people, I guess, don't know or might not be aware is that George Lutz, went by Lee to a lot of people. That's his middle name. And it actually, I was just telling Noreen about this, is that I was just live streaming for a local cemetery today, and knowing what I was coming on here, this radio show, to do, I, was using a spirit box, and you hear what happens here, and it says Lee, and then it starts discussing the Amityville. It says Butch out of nowhere, and then I'm like, who said Butch? And it says it was the devil, and then it says 112, which is the original number of the house. I believe they changed it to 108 Ocean Avenue instead of 112. Yeah. But I wanted to just play this part and see if you guys can hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
This literally just happened like 2 hours ago.
All right, go ahead. I'll put you on full screen. So, okay, go ahead.
That just sounded like Ronald DeFeo Jr. right there. Who just said Butch? Who just said Butch? You guys got the time signature for that? Amityville. It sounded like it said Amityville. Your help? Alright. You guys know what time that is on the scope right now by chance? Thank you, Nancy. Who said Butch? Thank you, Cindy. Who said Butch? It was the devil. Twice it said that. Oh my God. It's disguising its voice to sound like Ronald, isn't it? Exactly. Bad. That's creepy, man. 112.
Yep. I heard that.
It's just like, that was the original address of the house. Now, that just happened out of nowhere. I wasn't even asking any questions regarding it, because it's like that leaves coming through, and it immediately starts referencing the case. These are the things that are happening to me. Me as an investigator going places, and as I start to delve into the case, and even talking about this stuff right now here on this show, acknowledgement energizes spirits, dark and just spiritual energies in general. And it seems like the profound nature of this case is so energetically huge that weird things start to happen to people when you start talking about it. And if you're involved with it and all, or see something, or if you have items or seeing something having to do with it, it's just very astoundingly, resoundingly just unsettling.
That's crazy. When I did a lot of research years ago on this house because of the first show I aired on it, I read somewhere where one of the sons, were interviewed, and they said that George used to go in the basement and mess around with the occult. And I'm just wondering, Sean, if George might have brought more of the spirits out on purpose to get famous off of the house.
It's definitely a possibility. I know that there's a lot of talk about him being into the occult and having lots of books on it in the house. How much he delved into it is questionable. But even if that wasn't the case, the fact is that they moved into that house, and even all the items in that house were all of the DeFeos. They took all of DeFeo's furniture, the beds where they were killed, the frames of the beds where these people were killed on.
Oh my
I mean, just on the fact of the connections of this profound, horrific nature of murders that took place in this house, even to have those items. I mean, all these items are emotionally connected to these souls that were tragically killed. That alone could still stir up. Now, if he was open to this stuff, that could have been the cherry on top to the point where they couldn't even handle it and they wanted to get the heck out of there. I also wanted to mention something that was interesting to me as I delved into all this stuff, is that I found like there was some sort of connection to the number 13. So the address, the original address is 112 Ocean Avenue. 1 plus 12 is 13. Then you have the Lutz family. The Lutz family moved into the house 13 months after the DeFeo family. Then you have the DeFeo family. They're actually buried in section 13. 1974, you can actually add up right to 13. I mean, it's all over the place. It's really something strange that, and you know that, I mean, if you know anything about the demonic, they like to symbolically come up with these synchronicities that are connected to things that, you know, mean certain things, or just their MO, their spiritual, demonic, malicious MO. And I talk about this because I'm writing about my second book about the significance of 13, and it's a profound number in, you know, Satanism and the occult in general. You know, November 13th as well.
What's November 13?
Yeah, I mean, it's all over the place.
But what's November 13?
That's the day of the murders.
Oh, November 13? Really? Oh, no. Let me see. Did I have that written down? I guess I did. Yeah, no. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Okay. At 3 a.m.? 3:15, something like that? Yeah. You know, to the viewers, before we started the show tonight with Sean, he heard a man's voice. And he asked me, he said, Noreen, are you alone? And I said, yeah. I said, there's nobody here with me except for the cats. And he said he heard a male voice, but you couldn't make, and we weren't recording, so I won't be able to play it back. And you couldn't make out what it said, huh?
No, it was like it's just a mumbling or something. It was like one or two words. But I mean, you know, this whole thing is just really strange. I don't know what to make of it, but I felt, you know, compelled to at least write the story down. Now, I also want to mention something interesting to me as well, that I'm putting in the book, is that I wrote about in my first book. Now, in my first book, I talked about Ed Warren. Now, I have nothing but deep respect for Ed Warren. Ed and Lorraine were pioneers of the paranormal community. They were like the first couple that went around and, you know, the entire planet, trying to help people and research the paranormal and demonology and stuff like that. And you know, around this time, when I was the first few years of me investigating, I had actually just I had gone to the Warrens Museum. Now, the night before I went to the Warrens Museum, I had this very vivid vision of Ed Warren visiting me, and I was in this room, and he's sitting in the corner. And he's like, Sean, sit down. Tell me about your life right now. What's going on? So I'm just going on, this and that. And he's like, you know, I'd really love to draw a painting of one of your scary stories. I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah, I would. And then all of a sudden he gets, hold on a second, something weird's going on. He goes on and grabs some black rotary phone. And then he picks it up. And he, you know, I wake up. I can remember exactly what he was wearing and everything. Now, when I met all of them, you know, Lorraine and, you know, Tony and all that stuff, they had said that sounds just like Ed. And I had said to them, because when I went to the house, Lorraine had actually, she was still alive, and she sat in this corner of this room, and I'm like, this room looks exactly where I had the dream, and where Lorraine was sitting is exactly where it seemed like Ed was sitting in the room. And now I didn't even know, but that's where Ed's chair used to be. It's where he sat all the time. And there would be a black rotary phone that he would use all the time as well. Right next to the museum. Now, I'm just mentioning that because it's leading into this whole Amityville thing. I had a couple of visions, and I believe visitations from Ed. His name comes up in investigations around me too, and I feel like he's kind of like a guiding light. You know, it's all trying to do the same thing, obviously, from his perspective in the afterlife. But I had this very vivid vision that I was in a car. Lorraine Warren was in the back seat with me. She had a plaid skirt, looked like it was the 70s, and Ed's driving, and he's like, "We're off to the Amityville house." So we get out of the car and go inside the Amityville house, and he pulls me aside and goes, "Sean, we're back in time right now." I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're a big part of all of this." And I'm like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "Take a look up there." And the word accolade was floating in midair. I forgot what the word actually meant. Mm-hmm. I had to actually wake up and actually look up the word. I'm like, what does that word mean again? It means some sort of honorary accomplishment or knighthood. I really didn't know what that meant because I had nothing to do with Amityville. I'm like, that's kind of strange. But now, with everything that's happened now, I don't know. Maybe that leading to helping this boy that may have been stuck there, finally finding peace, may be what Ed Warren was talking about in that vision to me, because I never thought I'd be writing about this house and having some sort of connection to it. And look at what it's coming to me. Yeah. This stuff is coming to me. It is around me. It is profoundly, just energetically, like just surrounding me in such a way. Why is this? I mean, is this all from starting from praying from this kid? I just don't know. But my intent's always been genuine from the beginning. But again, that's why I'm writing this story. But it's something I'll mention as well in the chapter.
Wow, that is so darn interesting. You and I had talked earlier about the other residents, the other people that have owned the Amityville, and none of them will own up to any paranormal activity in the home. But I explained to Sean, and I know this, for a fact, because I've seen this happen to other people, where if you don't believe in the paranormal, and it's just like a joke to you, you're not going to pick it up. And when people tell me stories of crazy things that have happened to them, they don't realize that it's a paranormal incident that they experienced. And they just, it's, come on, that was nothing, But that's what happens. I really believe that's what happens if you don't believe in the paranormal. Even if you have an experience, you're not going to believe that it is paranormal. And I just cannot believe that those people that live in that house at one time or another, that they don't experience anything. I just don't believe it. Do you, Sean?
Well, I just know that, when you go to a haunted location that's usually active, you can go with a group of people, and one person could literally just take away all the energy. They're like energy killers. I do believe that can happen. I do believe that certain individuals are more susceptible to sparking and triggering paranormal activity than others. Our souls individually interact with the spiritual realm more so than certain people. And I think that's what was happening over the years with some of those crazy things with the murders. Now, from the research that I did, Lorraine and Ed had said that there used to be a house that stood on the property where the main Amityville house still stands to this day, yes, and said that they were having activity in it, and they moved this house to another location, and no activity, kept going on in this house that they moved. But then they built this house there, and then the DeFeo family ends up moving in there, and then you talk about all the alleged physical abuse, the mob ties, the drug abuse, and possible Ron messing around with Satanism, and on top of what took place in the property years ago with the Native Americans in the burial grounds, and the mentally ill or demonically possessed of these Native Americans, to other people, doing sorts of satanic references and connections and stuff like that. And then it just creates this perfect shitstorm of a family going in there where the evil spirits can actually manipulate that to the point where they can actually create this scenario where I really truly believe that the demonic caused a mass-induced sleep paralysis for the entire family, and muted the gunshots that Ron went around and killed the entire family, because they don't even know how the gunshots, no one ever heard those gunshots. Right. How come none of the family ran for their lives as he went to room and room and room, killing every single person? Every single one of those people are face down. and knowing the connection of the Native Americans that they bury their mentally ill, allegedly, under the property or demonically possessed, and they buried them all face down. The connection of that, and this is what evil spirits do. They have MOs that are connected to the suffering of human beings, and that is literally their point of existence. And there can't be any coincidence for that. I mean, it has to be connected to that. I mean, to this day, they really can't explain it. So it just makes you wonder. But that's why it's one of the most mysterious, infamous cases of our time in the paranormal community.
Yeah, you know, I understand that Ronald DeFeo changed his story many, many times about the killings.
Now, I did read that Hans Holzer interviewed him in prison years ago when he got put onto the case. And what I was reading is that he was trying to hypnotize Ron to see what happened, and that he just couldn't do it. And then Ron was saying that, you know, these demons are not going to let him interview him, and he was acting erratic and like crazy. Now, yeah, he's changed his stories a lot of the time, but one thing's for sure, there is evil that is there. It's still lingering. To what degree, I really don't know. There's something definitely there. I had just read an article. A realtor went in there in 2010 with the other girl I was telling you about. She said that she got inside the house because the house was up for sale. And there's an article, if you look up 2010, realtor, haunted Amityville. He went in the house. He was up on the second floor. That's where I saw those three shadows in the vision. And he felt uncomfortable. And they went down the basement. This cold air came out of nowhere, and he felt just unsettling, and he ran the hell out of the house. Never wanted to go back. Now, that was just in 2010. And look at me. I never went inside that house. I went by the house and to the grave of that family, and look what followed me home, and it's still around me to this day. There's something very strong and evil that's still able to come at people and affect them in a way without even going inside that property.
That's amazing.
And there's a serious reason behind that. I don't know what it is, but it makes it fascinating at the same time.
Honey, it's because you're so sensitive to all of this. You are one individual paranormal investigator that it's like a magnet to you. The paranormal is like a magnet. You pick up everything. And for usually people that air a show with me, if there's anything flying around them, they don't even see it. But you saw those orbs. You actually saw them. Now, we didn't see them until playback. I think some of the viewers saw it during the show. You know, George Lutz, the Lutzes had arranged a meeting with the Ronald DeFeo's attorney. They wanted to talk to the attorney about the kinds of things that may have happened at the house at Ocean Avenue. And they said that there was no doubt in their minds that Ronald DeFeo was influenced by what was in that house, and it was paranormal, supernatural, and demonic. And the same thing with Ed and Lorraine Warren.
It followed them home.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the first paranormal book that I ever read, The Demonologist. I remember them reading it, and they saying that when they did that case, it followed them home, and it terrified them. Like, they felt really threatened. And look at all the cases that they've done. I mean, and there's also, I think it was one of the video interviews I saw of Ed. He explained that when he first interviewed George Lutz, I think it was a diner, a restaurant, or something, he had said that, all right, well, George, tell me what happened. He's like, you know. He's like, what? And Ed was saying, like, this guy was so terrified to even bring up the activity because every time he talked about it, things started to happen. And here I am. I get chills thinking about it because every time you bring up these types of spiritual scenarios, these events that are otherworldly, that are this strong in nature, the acknowledgement, it gives them energy, and things will start happening.
Yeah.
And this one's just one of those unique ones where it really shows its face. You'll notice it.
You know, I was telling you, Sean, earlier that that I have some audio. Well, I can go into my. I don't know if you want to hear it or if the viewers want to hear it, but when I aired the show. 6 or 7 years ago, in that airing of the show, I have clips of Ronald DeFeo talking about, telling the interviewer, which was Jackie Barrett, who I had interviewed, he was telling her that the story needs to be told. Now, I didn't download it. I have it on my desktop. Do you want to hear that by any chance? We have some time here.
Sure.
Okay, let me see. Okay, let me go over here. See if everybody can hear it. Let me go find it. He said there were 4 clips that we shared on that interview, and this was one of them, and it was where he said the story needs to be told, and I thought it was very interesting. Now, I hope it's right by the microphone. I hope you guys can hear it. All right, let's see. Oh God, you know what? You know why I can't play it? Because if I do, I'll get feedback if I turn on my speaker. I can't do it. Damn it. Let me see. I don't think it'll work. By the microphone. Yeah. Yeah, I can't do it. Darn it. Oh, I can't. I forgot about it. With this program I have, I can't do it. You could do it, but I can't. Do you want for the heck of it to do a ghost box session right now?
Someone's asking me.
Is somebody talking to you?
Oh.
Do you want to do a ghost box session just for the hell of it?
Let's see. Do we have something? Yeah, I'll do that for you. 1 second, I gotta get it.
All right. Oh, Sean, also, one of the viewers, I Am Alpha said that at one time I was talking and they heard a female voice as well here.
Oh, on their side?
Yeah, I guess, well, during the show, you know. So there must be a male and a female around.
Yeah. Well,
see if
after this.
See if anything's around you. I'll put you on full screen.
Okay.
All right.
Was it George? Not worship to the Holy Trinity can be in my place. Who is the man? Can you say their name? Long Island. You hear that?
Yes.
What Long Island. George, are you here with me? Started referencing the case now because I'm writing this book. Is that why you've been following me? Yeah.
Oh, I heard that.
Is it true that you said the house took your soul? No. They? They what? They took your soul? Yeah. Heard that?
Yes.
Who's they? Is it those three shadows that I've seen? Yes. That sounded like his voice.
Yes.
Hear that?
Yes.
Are those three shadows demonic? Are those three shadows the one that were holding John back originally? Dream. That was my dream. That was my vision.
Wow.
Right. That was his voice.
Yep.
He sounds just like it.
Yep.
Is there anything specific you want to say, George? His home. So you were the man that we heard. I heard your voice in my room just before when I started the show. Well, I revoke any permission for any evil spirits to stay here. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, in the blessed Mother Virgin Mary, Mother of God, and all the angels and saints, and the blessed apostles Peter and Paul. Cross. I cover this house, my heart, mind, body, and soul with the blood of Jesus Christ, and I fear no evil. Defeos.
Wow,
Amityville.
that was
pretty,
crazy. That was fun.
yeah.
Oh my.
I mean, it started off, it said Long Island, and then he was giving me yes, no's. I mean, yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, Sean. So, is there anything else you want to talk about regarding the Amityville? Is there anything that you missed?
Well, I mean, I did research and stuff. I know that Hans Holzer allegedly confirmed that there was Native American burial ground under that property. I know people have said, is that true or not? And he, what I read is that he went to the land developers and they admitted it, but the Historical Society didn't want to admit it because of all the hype and the story that's attached to the area. They didn't want to give it any more notoriety. So I thought that was interesting. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
What about the other houses in the neighborhood? Anything going on paranormal with the other houses?
Not that I know of, but as soon as you pull onto that street, Noreen, you just have this panicky type feeling. It just had pressure on your chest, and it just doesn't feel right. And they say that there's places on and off that street that are tied to Native Americans. So I don't know what it is. It's just this mysterious, unsolved, unexplained thing. We'll probably never know, but it's interesting to get little bits and pieces. I don't know why.
Is that house for sale now?
Someone's living in it, and I hear that they can't stand the thought of anything having to do with the paranormal. They hate people talking about it.
Oh, God. Now, is this the third owner since the Lutzes had it?
I don't know if it's the third owner, but I do know one of the past families, what I read is that one of their sons lived in the same room that Ron DeFeo Jr. slept in, and he actually had a drug overdose in that room, and then on the way to the hospital, I think he passed away from a drug overdose.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I've heard rumors of other people that have lived in there that may have been connected to satanic stuff, but, you know, you got to be objective about some of these rumors, but you talk about it, leave it open to suggestion, like some of the things that I've talked to people about in their experiences, but I definitely know what I've experienced, and there's no question about it. There's definitely truth to the Amityville horror. There's no question about it, because it wouldn't be coming to me like it has, and still, if there was no truth to it. Now, is there embellishing that goes on with these stories? And, you know, maybe they exaggerated a little bit, but there was probably saying the place is haunted. Let's just take it to the next level. I mean, but is that place haunted? Is there still spirits on that property? And is there still evil lingering around that home? No question in my heart, body, and soul. Yeah. No question.
Yeah. You know, I think the Lutzes paid about $110,000 for that house. And that was a lot of money in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of money. I thought, well, I don't know if they followed the movie. I imagine the movie was embellished as well. According to the movie, the Lutzes couldn't afford that house, but yet they walked away from it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they left all their belongings behind, and that was before a book was even talked about. I mean, they were legitimately terrified, just like Ed when he first met them, too. I mean, he didn't even want to speak about it. And I can understand that, because it came to me. It came to me because I was doing something that the evil there, that's still there to some degree, and involving in souls that are still there. I don't know what's going on, but they didn't like what I was doing when it was coming to the praying. And to me, that's why they were coming after me. Now, writing a little chapter about this story and putting into my second book of Shadow Chaser, the acknowledgement of my experiences in this case, it starts to creep its way back. You know, I get little hints of it on and off, but then as soon as I start talking about it, I think the same exact thing happened with the Warrens. Every time they talked about it, little things would happen to them as well. And I mean, they said that was probably their most horrific case that they've ever done, and they've done hundreds, thousands of cases.
Yeah.
I mean,
and
I've never even been inside that house. And for that stuff to come to me in my home and have these reoccurring experiences and come to me and come through in other investigations, and so prevalently manifest and have connections and feelings and dreams and visions, it's just making me more curious about it. But I think it's important for me to at least write it down and tell the story, which we should do for all of our experiences, no matter what it is, how small you think it is or crazy it is. I mean, these experiences are good to get out there to share with others, for whatever the reason is.
I wonder the families that have lived in that house. I think one of them lived there for 10 years, but what was it like? What was their family life like? Was there harmony in the house? Was there all upset and fighting? I would love to know what went on in those houses when those people owned the house, but I don't think they'll ever talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, since the house is already infamous for what it is, to give any attention to that would make, a storm that they wouldn't want to probably deal with if that got out.
Well, another thing is the real estate agent wouldn't let them talk about it anyway. They'd never sell the house.
Yeah. They should just turn that place into a museum, but unfortunately it's right in the middle of like a very nice neighborhood, and people probably don't want all the people coming in there, and which is a shame, because that's probably what it should be, just a museum of some sort.
But geez, Sean, do you think with the house being so evil that it should have people coming through it and looking at it and everything? Because look what's happening to you.
I mean, that's my number one house that I'd be able to just walk through. I want to know what I would feel. I mean, I feel something just being on the road. I feel evil watching me sitting in my car when I've been there, and the handful of times I have just in my car. So I just be curious, because there's something there, and I'm sensitive to it. I would love to know, if I walk through that house and feel what other people have felt, and including a year that's not that long ago, 2010. I mean, there's at least two people, from the guy in the article and now a girl that's willing to write a little something for my book too, saying that she was inside the house too and felt nauseous. So
she was the real estate agent?
She was, her aunt was a realtor, one of the realtors, and she got inside the house. Wow,
lucky her.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So.
And I don't imagine they'll ever have an open house. Probably appointment only.
Yeah, that would be a dream come true. Just for, I mean, gosh, if I could just be in that house for 24 hours by myself.
Oh my God, I can imagine what you'd pick up.
Oh yeah, forget it. Yeah. It comes to me in my own bedroom. After that, and hear that man's voice in my room, and now I'll be blessing my place after I get off. Because I don't want these stragglers. I mean, I always bless myself and say a prayer. I bless my car with holy water myself if I go to any places that are haunted, or if I'm doing any communication. But, especially talking about this case and just hearing the man's voice at the beginning of this thing, and now I turn on that device, and then, all right, here we go. I don't want any of that nasty shit. Yeah, you go.
I know you've been to so many places and so many really haunted like Sedumsville. I want you to come back, and I know you're writing a book now on some of the most haunted locations that you've been to, and talk about your evidence and everything that you have. And I would really love you to come back and do another show with me. And if you would share. Yeah, and it doesn't have to necessarily be the cases that you're putting in your book, because I don't know if you have room in that book for all the cases that you've investigated. But some of the other cases that are really creepy and you have evidence, really good evidence, I would love for you to come back and do a couple of cases and present to the viewers your EVPs, your ghost box, your images. I would love for you to do that. Maybe in the fall.
Sure.
I know your new book will probably come out in the fall, and you can come back then and we'll talk about your book. But I don't want to take away from your book, but we can do other cases that you have, because I know you have a ton of evidence on your cases, because that's what you do. You attract the paranormal, and there's no problem for you getting any evidence. You know. Hey, what did you feel like when you went into Sedumsville Rectory? What did you pick up? I understand, because I know we did a show on that, but was there? Oh God, the priests were doing bad things in that rectory, weren't they?
Yeah, there's talks of the molestation of boys and dog fighting in the basement and
That's right.
things like that. So actually, that was a profound one of those things for me too. Like before I went to that place, I had a vision that I was inside this house, and I was looking around the house, and my buddy Phil, who ended up coming with me on the trip, the objects in the house were floating everywhere, and these three little boys came up to me, and they were tugging on my shirt saying, Sean, you gotta be careful of this demon's name, Bezlebub, whatever how you spell it.
Yeah.
And then, my friend Phil's like, I don't feel right in here. And I was looking out the window, and there was this black donkey with red eyes running around the house, hee-hawing. And then there was a black peacock with red eyes, and it made this screeching noise. And then I woke up. Now, the next morning, I told my buddy Phil about the dream, and he said, that's really strange because I had a dream that I was in a house with you as well. So what are the chances of that? So I didn't realize what this was associated with, what location. But by the time we got to Sedumsville Rectory, when I looked around and got my bearings, I knew that this was the place where I had the dream. And as soon as we start, Dave Spink's right there. He got scratched on his neck. And then we turn on the spirit box. It starts saying that demon's name constantly that the boys were warning me about.
Wow.
And then my buddy Phil felt burning on his back. And Dave and I watched an upside-down cross scratch appear on his back. And considering we're in a place that used to be a rectory, that's pretty unsettling, to say the least. So all throughout the night we had crazy activity, and at one point, I'm thinking, like, are these kids stuck here for whatever the reason? And I'm going to say a prayer for these kids. Same thing. And I'll never forget. I prayed for these kids, and I'm like, did I help those kids go free if they were here? And it said, they're free. And I was like, wow. I mean, that's true. I mean,
Wow.
I just was shocked by that. So when I got home, this guy was whispering in my ear and saying, I'll slit your throat. You took those three boys away from me. I'll kill you. I'll gut you. And it went on for like a few weeks, and then it went away.
Oh my God. Who?
Yeah.
Did you get a name of who that was?
Mm-mm.
Did you ask who you were?
It's just one of those things where you're laying in your bed and you hear it so quickly, and I just go on guard, throwing holy water all around the place.
Oh, must have been one of the priests. Oh my God.
I don't know what to make of it. It was a very strange thing, but it went away and never came back.
So Sean, you're studying now under Ralph Sarchi, who had a show. Let's see, you guys had the show together, The Demon Files. And you're studying under Ralph. So where do you go for your demonic cases? Or do you investigate and then you bring him in?
Well, Ralph's, right now he's like semi-retired. I've just been getting cases and going on them whenever they pop up. If you're meant to help someone, you're meant to help them. Becoming a demonologist is not something that you just be like, okay, I want to be that. It's a calling. You feel it. You're drawn to it. It's been something that's been a draw to me since the beginning of investigating. It seems to be this recurring theme of stepping away of evil and trying to help souls or people. And, that's what I am today. I never thought I would be even deserving of that title or something like that. But that's just what my mission is. I want to help people and souls, and not just human beings that are alive. I want to pray for spirits that are earthly bound for whatever the reason. And that's something that I was excited to show on the show, Ghost Loop, the one season we had on Travel Channel. Just to show the evidence of spirits praying with me and giving evidence of prayers actually helping spirits, rather than just having a feeling and saying, all right, the spirit's gone. I want people to actually see evidence, and that's something I do as well live on Periscope all the time. But, you got to be careful. We take risks as investigators, and, I mean, things happen to me. Things come to me in my bedroom. Like, I don't have activity in my house, but I bless my place constantly, and obviously I just turn on device for a hot minute, and I'll be blessing my place after that. Your house is your sanctuary. You shouldn't be messing around with that sort of stuff in your home, because you just don't know what you're dealing with. I've been doing this over a decade, and I'm constantly blessing my place. I go through more holy water than Poland Springs.
Hey, those cases that you aired on Ghost Loop? How many days were you there investigating those homes?
It was like 4 days of filming, and then you got to do like interviews or catch-ups and things like that. I mean, it's like a week per case, which was the same thing for Demon Files.
And what happened after you left? Were you still in contact with those people? Were you able to help them?
I spoke with most people on the episodes of Ghost Loop, and they have not. Each person or family that we tried to help have not witnessed the original spirit that they were claiming to see when we first initially went. So that's obviously a good sign.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to ask. Does anybody have any? Let's see. We've been on for over an hour. It's probably getting late. Hey guys, it's probably too late for questions for Sean.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah. Okay, Sean. Royce, do you want to? By the way, when I showed that picture to the viewers, Royce, our mod, one of my mods for the show, he has abilities as well, and he saw 15 images in that picture, the ghost picture. Anyway, so Royce, would you take, guys? Do you have any questions? Would you put them in caps for Royce, so he can send them to me? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask. I love talking with Sean, and I love hearing his stories, that I forgot to ask you guys if you had any questions.
I love the Q&As.
Okay, guys, it's 30-second delay. So put your questions in caps, so Royce can send me those questions. Betty, we had a picture that we showed earlier. You came in late to the show. Let's see. So this is the picture that Sean shared with us tonight, and there's images in there, and there's also the image of this picture of the house, and it's off to the right hand side. You can see the roof, the shape of the roof. It's on the, when you're looking at it, it's on the right hand side. And in this picture, and I see the girl, I see the young girl with the dark hair, and I see Ron DeFeo in that picture. But Royce saw total of 15 spirits in that picture. God, I'm looking at that picture again. Sean, I'm telling you, it's plain as day. I can see her. She's sitting there. Plain as day. Let me see. Yeah, there she is. Huh. So if anybody else sees anything in that picture, let us know. All right, let me go back to Sean. I'm going to put him full screen. Okay, let's see if we have some questions. Hold on.
And strange, not one light anomaly tonight at all.
Oh, and that's right. Well, I kept looking at you. I didn't see anything either, but you would have picked it up. Isn't that weird? So what was the show that we were talking about where all these orbs were flying around you? And it was just certain times.
I think I've just come back from investigating somewhere or something. I don't know, but what I was seeing, it was like I literally see like a white anomaly like stop, and then it would go back the other way. I mean, that's what we look for when we're investigating. I mean, if it's defying gravity and it looks anomalous in shape and what it's trying to do, I mean, I was like, that's definitely some sort of spiritual energy manifesting. It was crazy. It was not dust. Like there was a few times it was erratically changing direction.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so the questions are coming in from Quarters Eye. The facts are clear. Oh, wait a minute. The federal agent who had the house under surveillance saw Dawn leave the house with a rifle. She was wearing a black hooded coat and gloves. She was killed later that night. Dawn, what is that? Is that one of the daughters, Dawn?
Yeah. So
yeah, Dawn DeFeo.
There's a lot of people that speculate that she was involved in the murder too, that she did it with him and then he killed her. The thing is like, well, if that was the case, why was she face down in the bed too? It's just, none of it makes sense.
He talks about that. On those clips that I have, Ronald DeFeo talks about that.
She killed everyone, and then he fought her when she was going to go kill the kids. If I stand correct?
I didn't re-listen. I don't know. He's at one point he says that she did it, and then he says he got the rifle and he did it. He tells he changes his story all the time. So I don't know. I'd have to play those clips back and listen to them. But all I know is that I remember hearing him say that she wanted him involved in doing the killings. And then he didn't want any part of it. And then he talks about, in another clip, about him, he was so pissed off that night. I guess he and his father were fighting at the dinner table. And later that night, he went and got I guess it was a rifle or a shotgun. And then he says he went and killed him. And he first went into the parents' bedroom. He killed him, the father, and then he killed the mother. But if he's there with the shotgun killing the father, what about the mother? Wouldn't she have gotten up and tried to run and try to get away?
That's the whole point. It's just strange, man.
I know. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
And then to go into the other rooms and kill the rest of the family, they were all sleeping. You would think they would all get up and huddle together and go, what's going on?
Yeah, run for your life.
Yeah, I don't know, Sean, you're right. It's absolutely bizarre, the whole thing. All right, from Chippa Terry. I love Ghost Loop. Will there be another season?
There's currently no talks of that. If there ever is, I will definitely let you know, but I wouldn't really count on that.
That's too bad.
I don't think there's a lot of paranormal shows out there these days, so I mean it's a tough business out there. So.
Oh, I know, Sean, but you of all paranormal people should have a show. I mean, you really should have your own show. And I hope one of these days you will have your own show. And they should bring back a Demon Files show. That would be perfect for you.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I feel like I'm meant to be doing. Like going up against the most evil stuff. Trying to help people. But, I don't,
Hey, you know what?
I'm just doing what I'm doing. Just it's my passion. I want to help people go places, investigate, and research, and do whatever I can to help any person or soul that I come in contact with, and just keep learning, because we never will know everything, but we can, learn through experience, and that's what we got to do.
For those who may not have seen the last show that I aired with Sean, his grandparents predicted. Tell them the story about your grandparents at the cemetery.
Yeah, so the day after I had my first interview regarding the concept of Ghost Loop for Travel Channel, before it even was greenlit show for any network, the day after I was live streaming in a cemetery, about 1,000 people were watching, and my grandparents are buried there. This video is on my YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/Sean Austin's Music, SeanAustins music, out of nowhere, my grandparents start coming through, references to my grandparents, and more so than ever it has before. And I've been there so many times. I wrote about this cemetery in my first book, Shadow Chaser, because I've had so many experiences there. And so I'm like asking, why are my grandparents coming through so much today? And it goes through the spirit box, because they want to talk. I'm like, they want to talk about what? It goes TV, new series next year. And it said, Ghost Loop, 5 of you leave. And that was before we even had 5 of us. And I mean, everyone in the chat was like, do you have a show? And I'm like, I couldn't say anything at the time. It was just kind of like a project that was maybe going to go and get somewhere. And not until the show was, you know, we filmed it and everything, I decided to put the clip up there and to show people. And that wasn't fake, because, I mean, that was live.
Oh,
that
yeah.
wasn't just videotaping. There's like over 1,000 something people witnessed that in real time.
Yeah. Yeah, and we played that. That was pretty awesome. All right, we have another question. I am Alpha. Has a house ever talked to you or made portals appear to an abyss?
Portals to an abyss?
Yeah. Appear
Have
to
I
an
ever seen-
abyss.
I've never seen a portal actually appear. My symbol or feeling when there's a portal around is when you walk into an area and your equilibrium is off and you feel like you can't even walk straight. That's usually like my sign that I feel like there's some sort of spiritual doorway that spirits are coming in and out of, which is a really fascinating thing to me, because when I go places that are portals, you have spirits that come through from all different locations that you've investigated from, and they're coming in and they're talking in the location that you are, because there's a portal there. So it makes it confusing too, but also very fascinating when it comes to portals.
You do, how often do you do live Periscope on Twitter?
I do it at least a couple of times a week. I try to do a Q&A at least once a week. I'll go out and investigate a place or two. Obviously, we're in strange circumstances right now, unfortunately, with the world and with the virus and all this crazy stuff. So, I mean, I'm trying to be active as much as possible. I mean, I was obviously going outside. I mean, obviously no one's going to be in a cemetery, so, I mean, I'm not going to be at high risk. I just went there for like a little over an hour. So, but, I mean, you know, I'm on there at least a couple of times a week for sure.
Okay. Let's see. Oh, David Eggleston, will you be going to Waverly Hills this year?
I don't know, David. We'll see.
Yeah.
If we're any sort of condition to be able to go, I will be going with you guys in June. I know that I think David, and a bunch of them are going at the end of June.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh, I don't know about that.
Been there. Always wanted to check that place out.
Oh, you'll get your chance, but probably not this year. Maybe later on. I think June is still too early for what's happening. From Jade Wilson, how is Ronnie's voice coming through on a spirit box when he is still alive?
Yeah, so I was trying to wonder the same thing. So most likely it's the demonic disguising itself as his voice. But I mean, I thought about it, like, you know, is that even a possible thing for someone to be alive and telepathically project a message through a box from someone who's alive? Are the demonic still combined with him to some degree where they're able to, like, I don't know. I just, like, I'm left speculating about that. Obviously, I lean towards the demonic changing the voices, because that's, I mean, what we know they can do. But it was very just strange. It's like, I'm in prison. You know, I mean, like, he's stating the fact that I already know, but it's like it wanted me to... Well, I mean, I'll tell you that I actually sent a letter to Ron DeFeo, and I was going to see if I can actually go interview him myself, and that was around that time. So that was kind of strange that took place, too.
Is he still in prison?
He's about an hour north of me in a prison.
Is he in there for life?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know what? I never thought about that. How did you pick up a voice when you usually pick up dead people?
Yeah.
That's weird. I never thought about that.
But it happened tonight, too. The one clip I just played to you in the cemetery, it said Butch, and it sounded like his voice again.
Yeah.
And And I'm like, who said Butch? And it said, that's the devil. And it said it twice. And it sounded like George's voice. So, I don't know. I just don't know. We can only speculate to a certain degree, but it still makes you wonder. But that's why I thought it'd be really, really fascinating to be able to interview him and maybe play him some of these audio clips and see what his thoughts are. Because I still have all the video from the little kid coming through. I'd love to see if he could actually confirm that that was his little brother's voice.
Did you ever get any response back to DeFeo, Ronnie DeFeo, from your?
Not yet. It was just like a few weeks ago.
When he was interviewed by Jackie because she had gotten permission to talk with him, and he said that the reason he did the interview with her is he said he found a connection with her. And that was the only reason why he allowed her to interview him. And she interviewed him for quite a long time.
Yeah.
So from what?
But it's just like, I actually remember seeing that documentary, and I'm just, that was interesting too. And she was having activity, I think, going on in her home. So I don't know. All I know is that it's around me on and off, and it's I'd really like to know and get to the bottom of what the true meaning of it is. Is it just because I'm writing the story, or is there something more to it? Which defining answer is it? Is it because I prayed for the kid? Is that kid gone because of me going there, trying to pray for him, and then Ralph going with me, giving up his mass for the kid, and finally getting this kid to be let go? I don't know. And then all of a sudden George is coming out, and then I'm getting all this Ronald DeFeo stuff. I don't know what to make of it, but it's fascinating. It's creepy as hell, but it's really fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be interesting for people to hear about some of the weird things that I've experienced.
Oh yeah. Did you mention all that to Ronnie in your letter?
Yeah, I went into a little bit of it, and I told him. I have his voice come through, and I wanted you to hear it because it sounds exactly like your voice. If that was me, I'd want to hear it.
Yeah. Oh boy, wouldn't that be fascinating if you get to go in and interview him?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, if he accepts you, you're able to sit in a room with him for 2 hours, and you're allowed to film it.
Yeah. Oh, he allows the 2 hours. She was there for a long time, but she interviewed him, I think, in the cell house and outside. There was like an outside area where she interviewed him as well. Okay, so we have another question from a Jordan Perkins. Have you ever been over to or spoken to the new owners of the Conjuring house? The house that the farmhouse that the Perrin family used to own. I think that's in Massachusetts. Oh, you have.
I investigated the Conjuring house about a month and a half ago.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was very active. Somebody got like a scratch mark or a red mark, looked like a burn mark on their neck. We had a door handle jiggling. I was in the closet and something was thrown at me. We got creepy ass EVPs. It was very active. I want to go back there actually because I couldn't live stream at the time because they had some contracts from TV productions. But I definitely plan to go back so I can live stream on Periscope for people. I know that they'll really enjoy that.
Oh, yeah. How are the new owners holding up?
They're great. They're really nice. It was a very nice, cordial experience to be able to go there. Again, it's one of those infamous haunted houses, and it's associated with the Warrens. It's a lot of stuff was there, and I feel like a lot of that stuff kind of lingered around some people that we went with as a group, and even myself a little bit. There was like some things. Those are the places that really fascinate me the most. When you leave an investigation and it sticks with you like spiritual ooze for a little while.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really I want to write about those places because there's just something about the relentlessness of the spiritual energies and just the feelings and the, what it is. It literally just stays with you for a while. I was like, what is up with that? It's so strange.
What kind of responses were you getting from the Conjuring House?
Oh, all about, witches and the Bathsheba to...
You were getting Bathsheba, huh?
Yeah. To, stuff about molestation, sexual type stuff coming through, that really nasty in this one upper bedroom. The most active places are like the middle room in the main floor and then the middle bedroom room upstairs seem to have the most activity.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, the place is really active, and I definitely look forward to checking it out again.
Wow. Yeah, I had him on the show. I interviewed him, and he was quite excited because the ghost adventures were coming there. And then after that, there was a rumor that they were getting really discouraged about the things that were going on when they told people, in the beginning they were really, really nice to the people. Hey, come on by, but don't bother any of the other properties. And that's not as what is happening. They're having a lot of issues with the public, and they were getting discouraged. And the rumor was that they wanted us to sell the farmhouse, but I don't know. I haven't heard anything else about that. So that's why I asked you how they were holding up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another question from Ramon Campbell. Hey, Sean, do you think the truth about this case will ever be told to the world to hear?
For which, the Amityville?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think, if the people ever move out of that house, and if I could just get my hands, considering I've experienced stuff now, to do an actual investigation of that house to get some more answers, I would love to with that chance. It's possible. It's just, I feel like the more information we get, the more confusion goes on. I think the thing with me with these three shadow figures is like, all right, because that's something new. Like, who are these three shadow figures that are standing at the top of the stairs? How is that connected to everything? I just, I don't know. There's a lot of elements that come into play, and there's a lot of speculation. We can only base it on first-hand knowledge, first-hand experience. And now I have first-hand experiences, and just doing some research on my own, I'm trying to figure that out and unravel it, and just write it all down and leave it open to suggestion to people to see what they think. But yeah, it's always a possibility that it could come to fruition as a whole with the story, and I hope it does.
Another question from the real McCoy. Sean, do you ever get bothered by demons or in an uncomfortable moment?
Of course. When you're sleeping is when you're most vulnerable. When you're sleeping, these things know that. They feed off fear and negative emotions from human beings. So obviously my faith is strong, and I know what I'm doing. I'm not an idiot. I've been oppressed by an evil spirit many years ago. So they'll come to me when I'm sleeping, and they'll try to mess with me and try to frighten me. It happens from time to time, absolutely. And then I'll see them scurry away into the ceiling because I'm immediately going to take my super soaker filled with holy water and douse it all over the place.
Another question from Maria H. Have you been to the Preston Castle? And
no, I've heard a lot about it, and I would love to. I don't think I've ever actually done a real investigation of a castle before, and I definitely would love to.
Well, it was a boys' home, and it is a castle. I've been there. It is huge, and it's all made of stone. The last time I was there was I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, and it's in quite disrepair on the inside, and it's the floors and the walls and whatever, they all need to be repaired, and it's going to take them a long time because they're still continually working on it, but it's a little dangerous walking around that place, but it's haunted. Let's see, Maria H. said she's definitely going to check you out on your Periscope.
Yeah, definitely. I do a lot of live streaming. all my investigations, unless it's not permitted to do so, or on Periscope. And now I'm starting to try to upload them to my YouTube page and kind of edit them down and talk about little pieces of evidence that have taken place while live streaming, while people are watching.
Oh, gosh.
And you capture new stuff that you've missed before. I also have a new CD coming out probably in a few weeks. I got the design and everything for my new CD. But I can't even get it duplicated because all the companies are closed down because of the virus. But it's going to be called 4C, and it's going to be like the next little mini soundtrack to when my book comes out. It'll be the same cover on my CD as my book, just like I did with my first book, Shadow Chaser.
Yeah, that is fabulous. And your music is awesome. Absolutely awesome. I love your music. Now, this Ubeda, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Ketty Cabin murders, but they want to know, and I know you haven't been there, but they want to know if you've ever been there. It's up, oh God, it's a little town in Ketty, but oh gosh,
No.
it's like 4 hours from here, from my house.
Is that California?
Yeah, it's in California, and I forget the town that it's close by. But in fact, you won't even be allowed up there. They tore down that cabin. It's a cabin 28, and the family, the mother, the daughter, and the oldest son. The oldest son and the daughter. How many were murdered? The mother, they were all like butchered. They were tied up and knifed and everything. The little girl, they found her, I think, a week or so later, and her head was decapitated. She was about 12 years old. But reason her head was off because she was out in the woods, and the animals may have taken it from her body. But it was never solved. And I've been up there, and I interviewed the oldest sister that survived, and the only reason she survived because she wasn't there in the house that night. She was staying right next door overnight with one of her friends, and nobody heard a whimper coming from cabin 28. But you can't get in there anyway. It's by another owner, and he wants nobody on that property. Okay, so we have another from Lady Jenny. Did anybody else see that shadow appear behind you on the wall, and it almost looks like it was waving and a green aura around you? I didn't see that. Okay.
I haven't seen anything. Actually, I missed... The last time I was seeing shit fly all over the freaking place.
It was. And you saw it. Oh my God, it was doing swirls and going all around. Oh yeah. Okay. And viewers, one of the viewers edited that video, and I'm going to show it to Sean. But before I put it out, I want to go over the video myself and look at it. And we're going to put that video out, and I'll send it to Sean as well. It's pretty interesting. From Tammy Heitzmando, you have any of the EVPs we can hear or still under contract? The Conjuring House. I got photos of a male and female chained up nude, molested in the upstairs bathroom and bedroom around 16 and 21 by owners. Nasty stuff, child molestation. I have off and on all night, was going to go back after the show and pull photos. So I guess she was there.
Yeah, a lot of groups have been going now. They can live stream that. We had just gone there right before they were able to. So, I have to go through the evidence. I have to literally sift through everything. So I don't have all the evidence put together. So I, to be honest with you, got really caught up in doing paranormal investigation having to do with the unsolved murder case of Jennifer Dulos, and I've been doing a lot of investigation up in Connecticut and trying to find clues from the spiritual realm, and that's been a whole whirlwind for me over the last month. It kind of happened out of nowhere, and that's just a whole nother crazy thing that's been going on for me.
An unsolved murder? I
Yeah.
never heard of the case.
Yeah, this man and his girlfriend and the lawyer, they were all conspired into killing his ex-wife. It was a big, huge story. If you look up Jennifer Doulos, and they never found her body, but they found blood spatter in her garage, and she had been missing since May 24th of last year. And it's just this whole crazy thing. And the actual husband killed himself pretty much because he knew he was going to be fried. And now I have his spirit threatening me, telling me to stop looking and stuff like that. It's ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Are you getting any EVPs and any answers or any communication with her at all?
If you check out my YouTube channel, there's already 3 videos up there, and I'm going through a shit ton of other investigations with loads of evidence and communication having to do with the case, the murder case, and clues that have been leading us in directions of possibly where her body could be, and we're looking into that.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Never.
gosh. That's awesome. I love those unsolved murders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I hope you find out.
Yeah, you never know. It's ongoing, but any way that I can help out.
Are you helping out the police department?
They've seen my videos. I'll leave it at that. But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that came through that are pretty interesting. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and then try to just get that information out there. Maybe it can help in some way.
God, that's awesome. So viewers, here's an image of Sean's website, and it's www.seanaustin.com.
Austin.
What?
Sean D. Austin.
Oh, is it? Oh, I didn't see that on there. Oh, yeah, it is. I see that right up there. SeanDAustin.com. Is your music and all that can be purchased from your website, Sean?
Yeah. If you live in the U.S., I mail out signed books of my first book, Shadow Chaser, which I just showed you right before, as well as my music. And my music is on iTunes and Amazon and all that stuff as well if you want to digitally download it, but you can get it from my website as well.
Awesome. Gee, Sean, that was a fun show. Thanks so much. I sure enjoy having you on the show. I love hearing your stories and your investigations. They're so interesting. And you have so much evidence to share because it just comes to you. That's what I love. I think it's awesome. You're really, really lucky to have those experiences because there are other people that can go into a haunted location. They don't get anything. They don't get EVPs. They get absolutely nothing on their ghost box, nothing. But it just comes to you naturally. It just comes to you. And it's so awesome. And it's so fun to have you on the show. I wish you much success with your new book, your new album. And I'm hoping that in the fall, your book will be ready and you can share. Like I said, it doesn't have to be those cases in your book. Maybe some other cases that are really interesting that you can share with us and the evidence. And they can just buy your book.
For one of the stories in my book, there's a lot, and it's really, really creepy. It's really unsettling, and I have a lot of evidence. So when I get closer to my book coming out, I'll definitely do the show about that because it's going to be pretty creepy when it gets out.
Yeah, let me know when the book comes out, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Now listen, you be safe out there, okay? You take care of yourself. And thank you so much. I just love having you on the show. So everybody say goodnight to Sean. And you be careful, be safe, and we'll talk again, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you. Good night. Thanks. Another great show with Sean. I love having Sean on the show. And just always a pleasure to have him on. He's so interesting, and he's so lucky to have all these paranormal experiences. Out of all the paranormal investigators, he is one paranormal investigator that just gets so much evidence, and it's like a magnet. It just comes to him. So everybody, thanks so much for being here. Don't forget, Sean's on, you can find him on Twitter, Sean Austin on Twitter, and watch his Periscope. If I had time, I would love to watch him because I just enjoy him so much. So listen, I don't have a show. I have got so much going on here at my house. My next show is April 23rd. I need to do some things around here, especially with what's going on with the, they don't want anybody out of the house, and I feed I feed homeless cats, I feed cats outside my house. I have 16 cats of my own I have to feed, and I'm scrambling looking for cat food because they're gouging the cat food, and there's becoming a shortage, and I have to go all over where I can to get the cat food for the cats. So my next show will be with Bill Bean on April 23rd, and it's about an exorcism case that Bill wants to talk about. And Bill's back on TV again, and I forgot what show he's been on. And I'm glad for Bill. That's really awesome. So also thanks to the mods. I guess it was Royce and Crystal was there for a while. So thanks, and everybody send your prayers to Royce and to Crystal. They need it. They need your positive energy. So please pray for both of them. And again, I want to thank you all so much for being here. Sean, for an absolutely awesome show as usual. And let's do some. Oh, Jimmy Cortez. Oh my goodness, honey. How are you? Oh my gosh. We haven't seen you in so long. How you doing? Are you doing better? Bless your heart. Let's do some shout outs. So do our shout outs. Royce Himman, Crystal Triplet, Caroline Ruttenberg, thank you. Dave Beatty, thank you so much. Davy Jones Locker, thank you so much. Funkaholic, thank you. Hugh Betcha, thank you so much. I am Alpha, thank you, Alpha. Jade Wilson, nice to meet you. I haven't seen you before. Maria H. PJ the Rap God, you're new. I haven't seen you before. Hey, if you're new, if you would please subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Royce Hinman. Starolite, nice to meet you. I haven't seen you before. And the Real McCoy, I haven't seen you before. Through the Veil, you're new. Uda Work, B1 Titch. You're new as well. Jimmy Cortez, oh, thanks so much, honey. Oh, Jimmy, oh, thank you so much. And also, there was another one from, who was it? Oh, Tammy Heitzman, thank you so much. Thank you for the chat money, super chat money. Thank you so much. Did I miss anybody? The Haglin, hi Haglin, Amy SZ, Tracy Clark, Sun. I know Carl White's there. Tall Cross should be there watching. They just don't get in the chat. I don't know what happened to Tall Cross. She used to come into chat all the time, honey. Lori Miller, Raymond Campbell. There you are, Carl White. I knew you were there. Jordan Perkins, Susie Farrell. Hi, Susie. Susie, oh, hi. Chippeteri, Nikki Stinson, Pungai Fungi. Hi, guys. Hi, Pungai, Nikki, and Chippy. Aaron Brody. Hi, Aaron. I missed you, Aaron. Yes, I missed you. I am Alpha. Hi, I am Alpha. Hey, Lady Jenny. Anybody else? Again, thank you so much for joining us. Lisa Marie. Hi, Lisa Marie. Susie Farrell, aren't you the one from Australia? Susie, are you from Australia? I know you must have a hard time coming to the live show. Let's see. Also, let's see. So April 23rd is Bill Bean. Then May 7th, Alex Gautreaux. Excuse me. He's from Louisiana. He's a professor or a school teacher. He's got a fabulous voice, and I've had him on the show before, and we're going to talk about notorious murderers. And he's got a couple he wants to talk about, and I want to do one also on Albert Fish. I don't know if you've ever heard of Albert Fish. He's disgusting, and it's so sad what he did, and he'll be one of them that we'll be talking about. So, and then I'm gonna get Vanessa Hogel to come back, and a couple other people. I'm just laying low because of all this that's going around. Oh, you're from Chicago. Oh, okay. Susie's from Chicago. Okay. Anyway, guys, please be safe out there. It's every day I listen to the news and it's just horrible. I mean, it's all you have to practically is look at someone or be next to someone and you're going to get it. It attaches to your clothes, to your hair. It's just terrible. The cases every day, there's new and new cases of this virus. And you really have to be safe out there and be very careful. I know it's really hard to even find any kind of sanitizers. The gouging is going on. They've bought up everything. I was able to get a gallon of disinfectant. So I mean, we're fine as far as that goes. You can't even find a bottle of alcohol unless you want to pay $100 for it. And I won't do that. So everybody, please be safe out there. Karen Baugh. No, Karen, I've never investigated. I just do shows on serial killers. That's a topic I like. I love strange disappearances, the unknown, unsolved mysteries and murders. Those are my favorite. So, Leonora Moreno. So, there's a lot of stuff on Netflix. Oh my God, there's so much on Netflix. We've been watching so many fabulous series. Oh my God, the series that they have on Netflix is amazing. And the movies. So, I'm going to go, I made a big pot of chicken soup. I'm going to have, Jim already ate because the USS Hornet, the haunted USS Hornet that my husband runs security on. He's retired, but he runs the security on the ship. The aircraft carrier, well, it shut down because of the virus. And so he's home. And it's really nice because we stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning watching movies and our series. We just finished watching Lost in Space. Oh my God, it was so good. That's a series. We've watched the Ranch. We've watched all the Marvel series. We go back and forth with Madam Secretary and Criminal Minds. But we're gonna and movies, so we switch back and forth. Oh. Yeah, well, good luck, Fungi, if you can get either one of those. You can't get anything to do with hand sanitizers. But anyway, I'm set because I did have it, and I did have a bottle of alcohol that I've had for a long time, thank goodness. And they say if you do have a sanitizer, to put some alcohol in your sanitizers. Anyway, so I just want you guys to be safe. Take care of yourself. Caroline Ruttenberg. Hi, Caroline. And don't forget, for those who may be watching, and Jimmy Hebe. If you'd subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Please take care of yourselves. And if you, I'm not sending out show reminders anymore off of my website. They must be going into your spam, and I'm not going to do it anymore. It's not working out. So you're just going to have to go to the front page of my YouTube channel, and when I post an event, you can click on it for a show reminder. So I'm not going to do it anymore. So that's what you're going to have. Jason Evans, Jordan Perkins, Lori Miller. Oh, thank you for what, Jason Evans? Jason Evans, how come I know that name? Anita Ackerman, there you are. Hi. So anyway, so have fun watching. Stay indoors and watch Netflix. There's a lot of stuff on Netflix. Soon, I'm hoping that Royce will be ready to air a show with me on his ghost pictures. Every time I do a show, and I know he was talking about the pictures that Sean had tonight, he picked out 15 images on that picture, so I can't wait to see what he comes up with. So Royce, come on. We want that show, Royce, with you. So, okay, so I'm going to go now, have some soup. And everybody, thank you again so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to go now, okay? Take care of yourself. Please pray for Crystal and for Royce. We want them to be well. They need your positive energy and your prayers, okay? As well as you all do too. And I'll be praying for all of you, okay? All right, I'm going to go now. I love you guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks, okay? You could always send... Oh my goodness. Bronze Snake, oh my God, where have you been? Every once in a while, Bronze Snake, you'll creep up, you'll show up. I haven't seen you in a long time. One of these days, maybe when Royce will come on and do it. Oh, thank you. You've been around for a long time, many years. One of these times when Royce is feeling good, we'll do a Q&A. And I'll bring Royce on with me. So Royce, come on, you got to get better, honey. He's been really sick. And I want to bring him on. Okay, Royce has to go. Okay, I got to go because Royce has to go now. Love you guys. Take care of yourself. You're in my... What? Bronze Snake, you have cancer? I hope not. Okay, I'm going to go now. Love you guys. All right, I'm going to go. Royce needs to go rest. He doesn't feel well. So love you guys. Have a great evening, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks, okay? Love to you all. Thank you. Oh, you had cancer. Oh, thank God. Are you okay now, honey? They cut it out. Oh, bless you, bless you. I'm so happy that happened. Thank you. Oh, awesome, Brand Snake. Cancer-free. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to go now. Love you guys. You have a great evening, okay? See you in a couple of weeks, okay? Love you.